Good morning. Welcome to this new interview. Today, I'm proud to be with an Italian scientist, now in the US for 20 years,
DARIO CROSETTO,
who has invented an extraordinary medical device that can make early diagnosis of cancerous diseases. So, Dario, welcome. Thank you for your cooperation, and let's start.
Good morning. Thank you, Anna Turletti, for hosting at this television. Yes, I will be glad to answer your question.
Okay. You invented this diagnostic device capable of an early detection of tumor pathologies. And so why should it be made available in the health sector? Briefly explain the different reasons in a list.
Well, this was a story of many years ago. In the year 2000, I invented the three-dimensional complete body screening called 3D CBS. And it is a technology based on the principle of operation of the positron emission tomography, called PET. It measures the minimum abnormal biological processes over the entire body and is able to detect tumors with only 100 cancer cells before they grow to millions of cancer cells that are detectable by millions is equivalent to about a millimeter, 1 million, or 2-3 millions, a few millimeters of tumor. And these are detectable by the CAT scan, MRI, ultrasound, mammogram, X-ray. So my 3D CBS invention is described in the scientific book of the year 2000. And the book is 400 times improved PET efficiency for lower dose radiation, lower cost cancer screening. Let me see. I should have a copy here. Well, I don't find it. There it is. It's right here.
Okay.
Sure. This book was included in the year 2000 at the US Library of Congress, a catalog publication. And I patented it to encourage investors to build and recoup their investment. Then I distributed 200 copies of my book free of charge to my colleague at the IEEE Nuclear Science Symposium Medical Imaging Conference in Lyon, France in the year 2000. And when I also presented 2 articles at the conference. And then in 2001, I gave a seminar at the University of Geneva that was announced in the CERN bulletin and was attended by many scientists from CERN who could not refute my calculation and claim. I then repeated also the seminar at the Hôpital Cantonal of Geneva. The 3D CBS is different from the traditional PET focusing in taking beautiful pictures that created a market of over 10,000 PET devices for the past 22 years, which mainly increased the cancer business in selling more drugs, but were not effective to reduce cancer death. And this is not just my opinion. This was demonstrated by Haley, Wang, Ying, and Reddy in an article published in the Journal of Nuclear Cancer Institute, JNCI, by the Oxford University Press in 2016. The authors analyzed data from over 100,000 cancer patients who underwent 1 to 8 exams on the current PET. And they stated at the end as a conclusion, despite statistically significant variation in the use of PET to detect tumor recurrence, there was no association with improved 2-year survival. So in a few words, they did not help to reduce cancer death. And this is because the over 10,000 PET devices focus in taking beautiful picture, while the 3D CBS focuses in measuring minimum abnormal biological processes. During the past 22 years, the 3D-CBS invention, with its upgrade, was proven superiority in saving lives, reducing examination cost and radiation to the patient compared to any alternative approach. The 3D-CBS should be made available. So here I'm answer to your second question, okay? Why should be made available to health sector? Is because it can provide a cost-effective early cancer detection of many other life-saving information and many other life-saving information to the doctor. The claim that early cancer detection is saving many lives is proven by experimental data. And these are collected by several agencies in the world, including the US National Institute of Health Surveillance Epidemiology and Results, which shows that late stage colon cancer has an 11% survival rate, which increases to 90% if detected at an early stage. Again, late stage breast cancer has a survival rate of 27%, but which increases to 98% when detected early. Late stage prostate cancer has a survival rate of 31% detected late, 100% detected early, and so on. For the lung cancer also is 2.8% when detected at later stage, that increases to 50% when detected at early. And this is similar to all other type of cancer. So the 3D-CBS accurately captures simultaneously from all organs of the body all possible valid signal emitted from the tracer, tracking biological processes in the human body at the lowest cost per valid signal capture compared to alternative approaches. Here is the list that you ask. This data will then be used by programs to provide the following life-saving information to the doctors. 1, to correlate anomalous biological processes in different parts of the body. And this is because it's taking simultaneously data that no other device can do. To extract information useful to understand the biophysiology of the human body, not just measuring the density as the CT, MRI, CAT scan. To detect the disease that are developing at a very early stage or to preempt the occurrence. And fourth, the last one, to improve diagnosis, prognosis, and effective monitoring of treatments. So the 3D-CBS is a cost-effective in early cancer detection and really creates a paradigm change in biomedical imaging because it provides 5 features, advantages that no other device or study can offer simultaneously. So one is offering one advantage, but not the other. Instead, by offering all these 5 together, that is what it makes a difference. So the first one, it can detect tumors with only 100 cancer cells. The second, at a very low radiation dose, equivalent to the radiation received during 3 to 5 intercontinental flights, so less than what is getting a pilot. Third, in 1 minute data acquisition. Fourth, it accurately captures all possible valid signal from the tumor market at the lowest cost per valid signal capture compared to alternative approaches. And fifth, at the very low cost of €200 per test screening for cancer covering all organ of the body. Its ability to detect tumors with only 100 cancer cells before they grow to millions of cancer cells, that is the size of a millimeter tumor, that are detectable by CT, MRI, ultrasound, mammogram, X-ray, provide a staggering improvement in early cancer detection. From millions to 100 cells will create a revolutionary impact in saving lives.
That's incredible. But I know and I understand that your invention is being rejected. And so, by whom? And according to you, are there any reason for this?
Regarding this, I need to put the record straight. Not only this invention, but even the one before that I had, the superconducting super collider and other places, have been approved by Nobel laureate, by director of the largest research center in the world, by emeritus professors of the most prestigious university, a division leader, group leader of this research center, by the inventor of the pocket calculator, Jerry Merriman, by the inventor of, he wrote 3 letters, one by hands, and also by the inventor of the first 400 megahertz processor, Silvio Turini. But instead, it has been rejected by the people who are handling a lot of money, taxpayer money, to assign funding for research. However, every year for the past 22 years, my 3D CBS invention has been proven correct and could have saved already millions of lives and billions of dollars, but along with my other invention, continue to be suppressed from presentation at conferences in this field, and articles and funding are rejected. However, because the 3D CBS invention is valuable, it was copied. So that is a proof that was valuable. Members of 3 US universities were able to appropriate $15.5 million of taxpayer money through the National Institute of Health, in addition to many other smaller grants, to copy my idea. It sounds ridiculous, but because those receiving the grant did not know how to build my device, they gave the grant money to a Chinese company to copy the 3D CBS, and also gave the wrong instruction to build a device focusing in taking beautiful pictures instead of measuring biological physiology at a low cost, ending having a device called Explorer, less efficient and more expensive than the 3D CBS, unsuitable for screening to save many lives. It is mainly used for research and development of new drugs. 2 copies were installed in hospital in 2019, one in Shanghai and the other in UC Davis in Sacramento in California, and measurements were performed in a lab confirming my calculation and claim from 19 years before that they could detect the tumors with less than 100 cancer cells. These results were published in March 2019 in the Journal of Nuclear Medicine and confirmed by other measurements. You are asking, by whom is my invention rejected?
Exactly.
Well, yeah. It was by the same people who are copying it, and by the influential scientists who are splitting the $2 trillion per year pay in research and development to serve a big corporation instead of serving taxpayers who are giving them the money. And you are also asking the reason. Well, let me tell you. That is the reason: serving big corporation and the interest of some influential scientists rather than taxpayers. This is well known for many decades. It is not my claim. You can find many articles in the reputable journals such as Scientific American, Vox, Nature, and many others explaining the reason. For example, in October 2018, Scientific American reported an article by John Ioannidis, who wrote, "More than $2 trillion are invested annually in research and development, but 85% of investment in biomedical research are miserably ineffective." And on page 54, he wrote, "Funding is largely concentrated in the hands of a few investigators, not necessarily genuine superstars. They may simply be best connected." And on page 55, much like mafia clan, 75% of top papers identifying new cancer drug targets are not reproducible. And that is something that in science, to distinguish advertisement from science, is that it must be reproducible. The same article was then translated in Italian and published on December 2018, the issue of the magazine Le Scienze in Italia. Other article includes Vox magazine in 2016, with the article by the title, "The 7 Biggest Problems Facing Science," according to 270 scientists. Also Nature, very famous magazine.
I know.
In 2010, they wrote an article, "Research Funding Making the Cut. Careers are made and broken by grant funding committees." So how are they key decision really made? Another from the Royal Society of Medicine in 2016 state the title, "Peer Review, a Flawed Process at the Heart of Science and Journals." So the news media, they know cancer strategy is not working, but do not report the facts and the names of the leaders responsible for inconsistency, nor do they report the irrefutable solution for saving lives and costs that should be funded and tested on a sample population. However, until magazine and newspaper are reporting this news as a general information in several articles by John Horgan, such as the cancer industry, hype versus reality. So we are just pushing, they are just pushing hype. That was published on February 2020 in Scientific American. And in other magazines for decades, without describing specific cases with names of scientists and decision makers who break the code of conduct of their category, who are unethical, who deliberately deceive the public with non-scientific false information, and ultimately some also violate the law of their countries. This news serves only to create a scandal as advertisement to sell more copies of their newspaper, but is not helping to fix the problem by making accountable those who damage the society.
My God. Okay. Official data says that between 2015 and 2021, the death rate from cancer decreased by 10% in men and 8% in women. Is this data true?
Well, I can provide you the link to this, the source to this news that is from the Italian government. And the website is www.salute.gov.it. So that tells you that it is from the government. And the news is the number 5681. And I wish that you could provide the link so everybody can go to that. But I have also provided a screenshot of the web page in case they remove it, and the link address can display in your video. However, this information is false because in that period, 2015, 2021, cancer death in Italy increased by 4.7% instead of decreasing as advertised in the news. I can prove this statement is false by taking official data regarding the Italian population published by Italian government at www.dati.istat.it. So Istat is the statistical agency of Italy. And the official data published by the Italian cancer agencies, the one most important on cancer, that is AOIM, Italian Association of Medical Oncology, and ARRC, that is the Italian Association for Cancer Research. So this website, the Italian government website, reports the population in Italy in 2015 of 60,665,551. And in 2021 is at 28 58,983,033. IOM and ARC, the website of the cancer agency, they report the death for cancer in 2015 of 178,232. And in 2021, it was 181,330. So at this point, it's not a secret. And elementary school students can make a division. So I wonder if, I'm sure that all these people can make a division. And the division is the number of deaths divided by the population. This will prove irrefutably that the statement from the Italian government and that the mortality rate decrease is false. In fact, if you take in 2015 the death of 178,233 divided by the population 68 million and so on, you get a 0.00293 or 0.293%. If you do the same thing for 2021 and the death is 181,000 and so on, divided by the population of 58,900,000 and so on, the result is a 0.00307, equivalent to 0.307%. So is it 0.307% bigger than the 0.293? So this is telling you that it's increasing, it's not decreasing. Okay. Then just by making a subtraction and a division, you get the 4.7. So you subtract 0.307 minus 0.93 divided by 0.93, and you get the 0.047, that is 47%. And also the statement that cancer death in Italy is less than the average death in the world is false, because by making the same division between the cancer death in the world in 2020, that was 10 million, and the world population of 7.7 billion, you get 0.01129, that is 0.129%. And this is less than half the mortality rate in Italy. So in Italy, there are people are dying twice as many as the average death rate in the world. Also, the world mortality rate is increased. And this is also doing the same operation on 2010 and 2020. In other words, the public has been deceived during all these past years that cancer death rate is decreasing while instead it is increasing.
Okay, and this is your demonstration. So can you repeat, but very slow, the source?
Well, the source,
yes,
as I said, yeah, the source, as I said, I am providing the source that you can maybe place the screenshot on,
yes.
On the, yes. And for the government is www.it. Okay.
Okay.
And for the association, the IOM association is let me see, is IOM www.iom.org.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I can provide the exact and screenshot and the URL.
Okay.
That
yes,
you
yes.
Can
yes, yes.
The video.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Beyond important prevention equipment, there are also effective cancer treatments. An example is the treatment by Dr. Burzinski, who about 40 years ago discovered how tumors could be cured. And so, did you have the opportunity to speak or collaborate with him?
Well, I had an opportunity to speak with him on August 23rd, 2022. So a few days ago, I had a meeting with Dr. Burzinski at his clinic in Houston. And my approach for early cancer detection is different from the approach that he has for late cure of very late detection. So the FDA and Medical Board of Texas attacked several times Dr. Burzynski, but were not able to sentence him because he had evidence of curing patients that could not be cured with the traditional treatment. So Dr. Burzynski is a pioneering biochemist to discover a unique and proprietary method of successfully treating most cancer. His story is well described in 2 hours documentary that I advise everyone to watch. This documentary takes the audience on a nearly 50 years journey both Dr. Burzynski and his patients have been enduring in order to obtain FDA approval clinical trials of antioplastoms. Defying the face of skepticism, legal attacks from state and federal agency, and a powerful propaganda campaign to stop Burzynski, this doctor and his patient are still going strong. Dr. Burzynski told me that his work is on a different field than mine. Due to legal requirements, he can only treat terminal cancer patients. His patients have only a few days or weeks left of life. They require very good care. A single patient may need so many attention as 20 regular patients. He is not doing any screening for healthy population or prevention at this time. What surprised me in the video documentary are several statements showing that the institution that should care about our health stated that apparently this is not important and is not their objective. So what is their objective? For example, and this you can find it by watching the documentary. Mm-hmm. The Texas Medical Board stated the efficacy of anti-neoplastoms in the treatment of human cancer is not an issue in this procedure. So they were going after him, trying to put him in jail, and this was not important. So if it's not important for them, for sure it's important for a layman, for the public, this question and this issue. Another example, on March 1976, Richard Kraut, a leader from FDA, the director of FDA, I think, stated, "I never have and never will approve a new drugs to an individual, but only to a large pharmaceutical firm with unlimited finances." So all these people who had discovered the penicillin and many other medicine, they should have been recognized or should not, because they were not a big company and they didn't have unlimited finances. This is all absurd. The Cancer Cure Cover-Up documentary by Dr. Burzynski investigated this hidden cancer treatment and the decades of failed lawsuit of the US government and FDA pursuing in order to try to silence him. In my opinion, anyone who can prove to save lives that other fails is worthy of consideration and respect. What is best for the taxpayer, however, and cancer patient and humanity is the solution that saves more lives at a lower cost per life saved. So we should compare this different solution and try to support, and you will see that mine is the one that really can save more lives at a lower cost per life saved. That is the thing, the bottom line that we should pay attention.
Yes, but why, in your opinion, this doctor has been incriminated and the FDA has not recognized his cancer treatments as effective, even with the existence of several patients who were cured thanks to his treatments? Why? They don't recognize?
The answer is because of economical reason, not because of health or scientific reason. And you can understand that from the discussion, from the answer from the FDA, from the result from these several lawsuits, that in fact they were not able to stop his license, that were not able to stop him from practicing because he had evidence. So the answer is that there was only economical reason, and he defended very well himself, putting forward the results, the health means the evidence.
Okay, thank you. You are filing a complaint to the Court of Edinburgh in Scotland, to the Public Prosecutor's Office at the Court of Milan in Italy, and to the Federal Public Prosecutor of Ghent in Belgium. Against whom and for what reason?
Yes, it's true. I took this action, and the reason is to instill trust in the young people and everyone in the institution. When we face inconsistencies, such as big lies that cancer death is decreasing, while irrefutable data provided by the same people, institution, and organization who makes this statement prove with a simple division and subtraction that is false, showing that in fact is increasing the cancer death. When we face corruption reported on the October 2018 issue of Scientific American, stating that $2 trillion are spent in research and development every year and are misused because 85% of the investment in biomedical research are miserably ineffective, and 75% of top paper identify new cancer drugs target are not reproducible, and funding is largely concentrated in the hands of a few investigators, and is split among a circle of friends, much like the mafia. This is to make it clear, I am not against drug, but in the contrary, I am grateful to the people who discover new drugs, such as Alexander Fleming, who discovered the penicillin, and the pharmaceutical company who produced them, helping to save many lives. However, I am using the drug as last resource when I am not successful to solve the problem with natural remedies. This is an example. I am diabetic. And for 25 years, I have taken metformin, and the last 4 years injecting everyday insulin. However, when the continuous glucose monitor became available, don't know if you're familiar with this device. It's a device that you place into your skin and is measuring continuous instead of punching the finger every 4 times a day.
Yeah.
And when this became accessible at an affordable price for private purchase not covered by insurance, like me, on June 7, 2020, I stopped injecting insulin, and soon after I stopped taking metformin, because the continuous glucose monitor provided the measurement of my glucose in my blood, and I could learn from what was good and bad to make it go up. I rely much more on the measurement of an instrument telling me what works and what doesn't work for my body, with respect to a theory on diabetes or other disease from a book expecting all human body react the same. The human body, they do not react all the same.
Okay, but do you think that you will get a positive result in a short time? I don't know, I'm not sure, but if you do this complaint, do you think that is a solution?
Yeah, before going to that, let me just make a few more remarks here regarding the reason why I believe in instrumentation and not in too much a theory of the books. So I designed the most sophisticated instrumentation for the most demanding performance in the large research center in the world. And believe me, the 3D CBS is the instrument that can provide the most complete information of what is going on a human body. It was not easy to drop taking drugs and keep A1C below 7. It took a lot of commitment from my part to learn the right combination of food that was not raising the glucose level and together with the exercise. Now my value is a 6.6, and when I pay attention to my food and exercise, I can get as low as 6.3 without taking any medicine for diabetes. However, if it comes to the point that I will not be able to control it, I have no problem to go back to the drugs. What is immoral is the price and profit of the drug companies, the pharmaceutical company, that it costs $800 per month to treat diabetes with the 5 drugs advertised on television. And drugs to treat cancer are over $10,000 per month. We should not be discouraged that voicing the truth, it will be ignored, because there are countless politicians interested. As you said, we should not react with violence or suicidal thoughts. We should instead place our trust in the institution, in this case, in the justice system. So this is why I filed a complaint. We should believe and support the Constitution enforceable by the rule of law of civilized countries. Let me tell you one thing that I just heard on Sunday, September 4th, 2022, from Farid Zakaria from CNN, who reported these figures. In 1 year, 19,384 people in the United States were killed from guns. In 1 year, 24,292 people in the United States died from suicide, gun suicide, okay? 119 deaths per day, 50 times more than Germany, 100 times more than United Kingdom. Japan, with 150 million people, had 4 deaths from firearm in 1 year. You would expect at this point that the United States, with approximately double the population of 330 million people, would have 8 firearm deaths in 1 year. This is wrong. How much was it in 2020? There were 45,222 deaths from firearm in the United States. Switzerland has more guns per person than the United States, but there are 20 times fewer homicides compared to the United States. So from September 2001 to December 2020, 660,000 people were killed by gun in the United States. This should make us reflect that we should solve problems with the dialogue, not with suicide or being discouraged that corruption will always win. So it does not worth to fight for it in the legal system and make the truth prevail. I submitted 4 abstracts to the Total Body PET conference in Edinburgh, Scotland. That will place that this will take place from September 24th to 26th of 2022, and 5 2-page articles to the IEEE Nuclear Science Symposium and Medical Imaging Conference, the largest in the field, attended by over 2,000 scientists from all over the world, that will take place in Milan from November 5th to November 12th in 2022. All my abstract articles and requests for presentation to colleagues to have a public discussion with them about what works and what doesn't work in reducing cancer death and cost at the conference have been rejected. My abstract and article report irrefutable data and calculation, as I said before, which demonstrate that the statement that cancer death in Italy is false, that instead is increasing. My abstract and article demonstrate that cancer death and cost can be cut more than in half, but with my 3D CBS invention for early cancer detection when combined with existing successful cancer treatment. And that since the year 2000, when I invented it, it could have saved already more than 33 million lives and more than $10 trillion in the world, and more than 1.5 million lives and more than 100 150 billion euro in Italy by building 450 devices, 3D CBS devices in 8 years. So who is responsible for this needless death and for the money wasted? The task of a scientist is to counter my calculation and claims with their calculation and claims, not to suppress them by suppressing my abstract articles and presentation to the scientific conference. If we still disagree on our calculation and claim in science, this is resolved by funding 2 experiments whose result will be the judge proving who is right and who is wrong. Result from measurement in 2019 on a copy of my 3D CBS invention proved that my calculation and claim in the book of the year 2000 that could detect tumor with 100 cancer cells was correct. Now, the same people who suppressed my book, article, presentation, and conference refuse to make a test with the existing machine that is there, it exists, on a sample population age 55-74 in a specific territory to prove that it's saving lives. They also refuse to evaluate and discuss my calculation and 59 quotes from reputable companies that can build the components of my 3D CBS device that will permit a $200, 2 minutes cancer screening test for early cancer detection, and they refuse to discuss that my 3D CBS device can save more than 260 lives per device per year from cancer, with the potential to save more than 100 million lives and more than 27 trillion in 30 years. Yes, the conference in Edinburgh and Milan are 2 important opportunities for the international scientific community to address this issue. But because this has been suppressed by the chairs and organizer, I am submitting a complaint against them in order to determine what responsibility their action or inactions appear to be criminally qualified, as they constitute an attempt on the life of others and or they cause suffering and death. So on August 22, 2022, I drove from Dallas to Houston to the General Consulate of Italy to submit my formal complaint to the Italian judicial system, while for the Court of Session of Edinburgh in Scotland, it is possible to submit this electronically. The complaint in Italy is against 8 chairs of the IEEE Nuclear Science Symposium Medical Imaging Room Temperature Detector, the conference, and the name are Chiara Guazzoni, Ralph Engels, Lorenzo Fablis, Sauri Lee, Giulita Dutta, Dimitris Visvikis, Beatrice Fabroni, Michael Fiederle, and the reviewers appointed by them to review my paper. The complaint in Edinburgh is against the co-chair of the Total Body Conference, Adriana Tavares, and Stefan Vanderberge, and the 12 organizers of the conference who refused to provide my abstract to their scientific review committee, thus suppressing science and benefiting the public. The damaged party in this complaint, because that is what is required when you make a complaint, is myself and all cancer patients. Another thing that is required when one is submitting a complaint is to whom I want to give the compensation, monetary compensation. So I am asking to give the monetary compensation sought from this complaint after subtracting the expenses to pay the professional attorney who work on this case, to the cancer patient and the family of the cancer patient in Scotland and in Italy, who died from cancer since the year 2000, when I provided the solution with my 3D CBS invention. Now, it is time the news media will not limit to voice the inconsistencies of $2 trillion spent in research and development every year, which provide miserable results as they are publishing, but hopefully they would also disseminate disinformation with the names of the people who are under investigation as a consequence of my complaint, to determine what the responsibilities, their actions or inactions appear to be criminally qualified, as they constitute an attempt on the life of others and or the cause of suffering and death.
Okay. I know you are looking for funds and investors interested in the construction of your device. Tell us what you're doing and make a proposal to those who listen to us to take part in this real improvement in the health of humanity. In the description, we also leave the link for your important fundraisers.
Yes, it is really important to receive the support from people who still believes in science, in the rule of law, in honesty, who would like to instill trust in the institution, to the young people and to everyone by fighting the corruption with the truth. I have summarized my message and appeal to everyone in one slide, followed by 14 slides for those who would like to see more details. I have then translated these slides in 9 languages: English, Italian, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Hebrew, Arabic, Hindi. Although there are some statements from religious people, this presentation is not religious, but is addressed to atheists and religious. It is addressed to the core of what we are as human beings, who spend less than 100 years on this planet to share positive experiences with others rather than damaging others and the planet. So my summary message in the first slide, that I say it contains everything, but if you are curious, you can look at the other, is this: from theory to practice through the positive power of dialogue. From 2020 to 2010 to 2020, world population increased 12%, from 6.9 billion to 7.7 billion, while cancer death increased by 25%, from 8 million per year to 10 million per year. But we are told that cancer death continues to drop. Since 2000, the 3D-CBS invention could have saved more than 33 million lives and more than $10 trillion from cancer, but it has been suppressed. $2 trillion per year is spent on research and development. These are 30 trillion since my invention. No one can refute the ability of the 3D-CBS to save lives and cost but $0.00002 trillion were not provided to the inventor to prove his claim on a sample population. So I'm saying sign the petition at www.change.org/stopcancer. For a real improvement of the health of humanity, as you said in your question, I invite you to sign the petition to support this cause and to make a donation to the CROSETTO Foundation for the reduction of cancer death now. This is until September 22, 2022, for the campaign that is organized by the North Texas Giving Day, that every year is raising over $50 million for the non-profit organizations that qualify as legitimate. North Texas Giving Day raised $59 million in 2020 and $66 million in 2021 that were raised through 103,000 donors, benefiting over 3,300 non-profit that qualified to receive donations. So CROSETTO Foundation qualifies to receive donation, but because we do not have fundraisers who disseminate our mission, is not receiving much. In the year 2021, CROSETTO Foundation received $700. But this year, after having provided this information, I hope that among the other worthwhile causes that I encourage you to support, you would consider important to include also CROSETTO Foundation, that has the mission to solve the most deadly and costly calamity, cancer, affecting more than 50% of the world population. Solving the cancer problem through a significantly scientifically demonstrated cost-effective early cancer detection combined with existing treatments. Help with your donation to raise the money to build the 2 3D CBS devices to test them on a sample population age 55-74 in a specific territory to prove its reduction is more than 50% in death rate, and in that specific territory compared to the previous year, or compared to another territory with people conducting the same life who do not undergo the test on the 3CBS. CROSETTO Foundation received for more than 5 years, consecutive years, the gold seal for transparency from Guide Star. You can Google that. You can make a donation now, before September 22nd, 2022, by typing in Google search North Texas Giving Day, or simply NTGD. And you will get the website of the campaign. In the search box of the nonprofit organization, type CROSETTO Foundation, and please make a donation and share this information with your friends. Thank you.
I'm very sorry.
Yes, together we will create a better world. Thank you.
I hope. I'm very impressed by you have told us. I hope that your invention can be realized, spread, and can save lives. Thank you, Dario, and see you next time.
Thank you to you and for the opportunity to deliver this message.